You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $10 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Tony Jabroni, who says to rant about A, as in the A board on 4chan. I've been on A for a fucking long time now. I'm thinking 12 years probably. Would be when I first, I knew about 4chan, didn't involve myself until I discovered A. And in the early days of me going on there, it was much more of like a contentious kind of, the sort of reputation I guess 4chan is known for. But A is honestly very different from most 4chan boards in that it's mostly celebratory. There's not nearly as much complaining, at least not unless it's mostly about new shows. But even then, the fact that they pay as much attention to the new shows as they do, it's like... The thing about A that I've always said is that if you go on there, you can find somebody who likes absolutely any anime. Like anything that you've heard of, anything that you've enjoyed, you can go on there, you'll find somebody who wants to talk about it, somebody who also thinks it's good. There's certain stuff that's very obscure that maybe won't get a ton of attention, but it's hard to find, a show that no one on A has ever heard of. And so it can be a great place for going to, in-depth discussion, for finding people who actually know their shit. And if you're good at using 4chan, it's pretty easy, even in catalog mode, to make judgments about a thread based on what images they use or what text is at the start. You can generally find the discussion if you know what you're looking for, So I would say it's a pretty decent place to talk about anime. Obviously, most people have fun keeping up with seasonals and throwing a big fucking shit fit about all the crazy stuff that happens. And I remember being on A when Code Geass R2 was airing, and let me tell you, the ending of that was a legendary day on the board. I don't think I've seen that topped with anything else, and I doubt I ever will. But it was probably the height of A's relevance. One of the things that I've loved about A over the years was that, again, because it's a community that respects basically all types of anime at this point, you could easily have a discussion about any show that is liked and find tons of people who love it. If you want to talk about Gochi Yusa, if you want to talk about K-On!, some cute girl moe shit, they are totally down for that, because anybody who doesn't want to see it just won't click on the thread, So you got a cute girl picture as the start, you got a cute picture of Yui, you're like, oh fuck, it's K-On! Thread time. And it's funny because I've talked about this before, that one of the reasons I made K-On! A loving thesis was that when I made my list of my top 10 favorite anime in 2014, then I had put K-On! As my number one, and people were like, how can K-On! Be your favorite anime? And it had caught me off guard because on A, there's daily K-On! Threads that are long as fuck where people talk about how it's their favorite show. So from my perspective, because of A, K-On! Was already something that had entered the canon and was considered a classic, by real anime fans, by people who really care, who really are talking about it. And I was shocked when I realized that wasn't the case outside of that board, So, I've tried to organize various things through A. I, at one point, tried to organize the making of a Biko webcomic. I had a whole thread or a post about it on my blog that you can go find. If you search for Biko, that thread or that post pretty much always comes up. But at the time, because the original works of the author had not been found at all. I think the original still hasn't been found, but the ones that have been found are an additional, a gaiden that he made or something with the character. I don't know, but I wanted to do a rebooting of it, and I got together some people on A. It fell through. Doesn't matter. Story's not interesting since it didn't lead anywhere. But I wrote a post about my experience on A actually, probably in 2008, talking about Last Order and how I was a huge fan of the character Last Order, and I could not find any art of her anywhere. So I went on A and we collected every conceivable piece of art that existed at the time. It's just always been a great place to find someone who knows what the fuck you're talking about, if you're talking about anime at all. So, generally, I'm a fan. Most of the reason I go on there now is just to look at pictures of cute girls. But, what else? What other reason is there to talk about anime in the first place?